Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we read from Srimad Bhagavad Gita. This is 18th chapter, text. What was it? 14? 14. This is 13, 14 or?
40,
40.
Nein, 1, 4.
Huh?
14.
14. 18, 14.
Ja.
Hier steht 13, 14. Das ist ein Doppelvers.
Aha, ein Doppelvers, okay. Aber nur 14
Wo steht denn da drin? In der ersten noch.
Nur, also Atishtanam Tata Karta.
Ah, der Ende. Okay. Adhishtanam Tata Karta Karanam Cha Pritak Vidham Vividhas Cha Pritak Chista Daivam Chaivatram Panchamam Adhishtanam Tata Karta Karanam cha pritak vidham Vividhascha pritak chista Daivam chavatram panchamam Adhishtanam tata karta Karanam cha pritak vidham Vividhascha pritak chista Daivam chaivatram panchamam
Adhishtanam tata karta Karanam cha pritak vidam Vividascha pritak chesta Daivam chaivatra panchamam Adhishtanam tata karta Karanam cha pritak vidam Vividascha pritak chesta Daivam chaivatra panchamam Adhishtanam tata karta Karanam cha pritak vidam Vividascha pritak chesta Daivam chaivatra panchamam
Ladies?
Adhishtanam tata karta Karanam cha pritak vidam Vividascha pritak chesta Daivam chaivatra panchamam Adhishtanam tata karta Karanam cha pritak vidam Vividascha pritak chesta Daivam chaivatra panchamam
Wir fahren Englisch, ne? Deutsch? Englisch? English. English. Adhishtanam, place. Tata, also. Karta, worker. Karanam cha, and instruments. Pritak vidham, different kinds. Vividha cha, varieties. Pritak, separately. Cheshtaha, endeavor. Daivam, the supreme. Cha, also. Eva, certainly. Atra, here. Panchamam, 5. Translation. O mighty armed Arjuna, learn from me of the 5 factors which bring about the accomplishments of all action. These are declared in Sankhya philosophy to be the place of action, the performer, the senses, the endeavor, and ultimately the supersoul. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. A question may be raised that since any activity performed must have some reaction, how is it that the person in Krishna consciousness does not suffer or enjoy the reactions of work? Lord is citing Vedanta philosophy to show how this is possible. He says that there are 5 causes for all activities and for success in all activity, and one should know these 5 causes. Sankhya means the stalk of knowledge, and Vedanta is the final stalk of knowledge accepted by all leading acharyas. Even Shankara accepts Vedanta Sutra as such. Therefore, such authority should be consulted. The ultimate will is invested in the Supersoul, as it is stated in the Gita, Sarvasya Chaham Hridi. He is engaging everyone in certain activities. Acts done under his direction from within yield no reaction, either in this life or in the life after death. The instruments of actions are the senses, and by the senses the soul acts in various ways, and for each and every action there is a different endeavor. But all one's activities depend on the will of the Supersoul, who is seated within the heart as a friend. The Supreme Lord is the supercause. Under these circumstances, he who is acting in Krishna consciousness under the direction of the Supersoul situated within the heart is naturally not bound by any activity. Those in complete Krishna consciousness are not ultimately responsible for their actions. Everything is dependent on the Supreme Will, the Supersoul, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swam Tinamni Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pracharne Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashkati Desatani. Almighty Armed Arjuna, learn from me of the 5 factors which bring about the accomplishment of all action. These are declared in Sankhya philosophy to be the place of action, the performer, the senses, the endeavor, and ultimately the Supersoul. So there is no religious scriptures actually existing where we find such a scientific understanding. Science means actually, Prabhupada claimed, science is based on experiment, observation, and conclusion. Now somebody can say, how does this fit into Krishna consciousness? We don't experiment, we accept. What is the experiment? But actually, every action performed in Krishna consciousness is following the same rule. As we know from Bhagavad Gita, as established in the early stages of Bhagavad Gita, the soul must be always active. This is not unknown, these things, even to materialists. They know action is a problem. Whenever there is an action, there is a reaction. Something, some sort. Any intelligent person can even observe that in an empiric way. So basically what people conclude, the best thing is no action. Then there is no reaction. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, impossible. You will act one way or another. Why? Because this quality of being active is based on desire. How do you stop a desire? That's another problem. How do you stop a desire? Somebody may say, I will not desire. Well, that's a desire in itself. I always laugh when people sometimes challenge me like, why are you so judgmental? You are judgmental. This is really funny, this Mayavada logic, how it works. And you go, well, you are judging me right now. You are also judgmental because you are telling me I'm judgmental. So how do you get out of this? How do you stop working without doing anything? How do you stop desiring without having the desire to do so? I mean, it's impossible to change these things. Krishna says, it's just not possible. This is part of the soul. Wherever there is a soul and consciousness, consciousness means thinking, feeling, and desiring. How do you stop this? Some people would like to do that. They pretend to think that they don't think. They desire not to desire. And they act in such a way that they don't have to act. Now somebody say, I have no job. I'm not acting. I'm begging. Oh, that's a hard work. Do you ever saw a beggar sometimes? I know from Prague, they are professional beggars. They put themselves in all kinds of helpless conditions, just to get some money from the tourists. It's a hard work, I remember in Prague seeing one blind boy. He had a sign in front of him, please give me something for eye operation. And he had just to attract the attention of the people, he had a stick and he was banging with the stick on the edge of the stone, going like, the whole day. Now you do this the whole day, it's a really hard work. And then people are going, oh, poor boy, they gave some donation. And in the evening his father came with a big car. He collected the boy and they put the stick in a trunk, and the boy was walking home, Of course, he didn't need any eye operation. Anyway, so even that is a hard work. How do you get out of this network of action and reaction? You think, no, I will withdraw. I will go somewhere aside. I will hide. There will be always somebody. There will be always somebody. You can go in Himalaya saying, I will be a yogi, especially today. I go somewhere, Kailash, Mount Everest, and I will sit there and meditate. You know what a traffic is on these places? Recently I just checked briefly. You know what a traffic there is around Kailash? There's more traffic like around Govardhan. There's a really path going around Kailash where Lord Shiva resides. It's so busy, it's incredible. And Mount Everest, which was like the highest mountain, how do you get there? There is so much traffic that they have to have a special tours just to collect the garbage from these people. The whole mountain is completely covered in garbage, just to clean it up. It's a tourist place. Of course, people die in such a regions also, So sometimes they have to clean the dead people too. But where do you hide? Where's nobody? Jiva is everywhere. Yeah. You can go wherever you want. So sit somewhere as a yogi. There will be some mountain climber. He will take a picture. There's a yogi here. And then that's it. That's the end of your meditation. So especially in Kali Yuga, in these places, all this doesn't work. Now what do you do in the middle of all this? We are forced to act, and I don't want to get really too close to reality and describe the life of a temple president, but that's really action and reaction non-stop. From the morning to the evening, you cannot stop acting. They are demanded, they are pushed to act. And then there will be some reaction, of course. Action, reaction, action, reaction, action, reaction. That happens to any leader. The kings in the Vedic time sometimes, they were so tired of this action and reaction because, it's a king, it's a horrible life. You get up in the morning, you sit on a throne, and you have to judge the whole day. Kill him, reward him. Kill him, reward him. Kill him, reward him. You make one little mistake, that's your karma. Therefore, there are these really cruel brahmanas who were always checking. A king wouldn't make one decision without the consultation of the brahmanas. Because that's a heavy thing, to sentence somebody to death and all this. But with all this, they were so tired of that sometimes they had to have a dancing girls in between, or jokers, jokers were always there, just to make some joke, and the jokers were very expert. They knew how to entertain the king, And of course the dancing girls, I'm not going to go in details, but they were very expert too, yeah. And then there was a queen, and she was an expert too. The king came, after the whole day of this, judging, it was finished, So the queen they knew how to pep the man up. But this was a big man. So it was not just one queen, he needed more queens to be pepped up. It was a whole harem. Polygamy was very common, especially for kings. So they had to take some means like that. Actually every action in the material world is immediately followed up by a reaction. Whatever you do. You try to enjoy, you increase your misery. Didn't you notice, especially places of enjoyment for the karmis, they are really miserable. We had just a celebration, New Year. You know how much misery was disseminated on this festival? Incredible. There was battles with police. There was thousands of policemen in the streets. And people, this is nowadays popular. Instead of shooting the rockets in the sky and having firework, they shoot it on the police. They think this is more entertaining. So there was a battles, police, rockets flying everywhere. And fire brigade came, and some people died, It was ambulance, and this is Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Total chaos. So actually it's becoming more bizarre like this. I think some older devotees, they nostalgically remember the old Maya. The old Maya was actually quite simple, I can give you a whole picture of the old Maya, 1960 or something like this. I kind of survived, I'm still alive, so I can report from those days. It was a very mediocre Maya. People were really all, Christmas and firework, And there was, the police came, everybody was behaving. Well, watch out, the police is coming. And there was different versions. You got the German Christmas, and then you got the Swiss Christmas, and then you got the Austrian Christmas, and you can go to Christmas markets, Yeah. And everything was very same. Every year the same. And people were just driving cars, Everything was simple. Can you imagine how simple life was? Even buy a ticket on an airplane was simple. We just go somewhere, I want a ticket. And they go, yeah, okay. And then you buy a ticket and go home. Now you need 20 applications, and then still you don't feel it real. And you push, and they always ask you on the internet, you can push this button, but we are watching you. Can we watch you? They even ask, can we watch you? They are watching you anyway. Everything is complex and complicated. You buy a little machine, the manual to the machine is bigger as the machine. You get psychic just by reading how to use the machine. Everything is complicated. Previously, machines had few buttons. Now it's a whole manual to it, library, how to operate this. To do what? Eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Nothing changed in this regard. It's so simple. Eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. You know how simple these activities can be? People complicate everything. Eating, they don't know what to eat. It's just, the cookbooks this big. You look inside, there's nothing to eat. Everything is incredible. In India you can go and you can see there's a Mataji sitting on a street. She has a fire. There's a ghee wok on it and she's cooking. You're Prasad. Here, rules and regulations. I can just mention it. I'm coming from Czech, so I get always these Czech jokes, and they're sending me devotees just to get some fun in a day, when you see so much craziness going on. One devotee just sent me, they have on Christmas this display of the birth of Jesus, this, what is this called? This German, Krippe. So it's a kind of model of a little Krippe, and then there's a little Jesus, lying there with Joseph, Maria, And, and then there is the three kings, they came to worship, the little Jesus. And that's basically it. Sometimes it's a big display, sometimes small display. And that picture showed just the empty box. It was just the kripa, but it was nothing there. And underneath was, the little Jesus was taken away by the social welfare because he couldn't decide what kind of sexuality he belongs to. The Joseph and Maria left out of despair. The three kings, they were censored because actually one was black, so let's be not racistic. So they were also removed. And the hay, which was there, the straw, that was taken away by the fire brigade because it's contradicting the law prescription, this and this paragraph. And at the end was written, but the kripa could stay there because it was corresponding to the fire brigade prescription of this and paragraph that and that and that. Somebody made a joke like this. So many prescriptions and so much things, at the end the whole thing disappears. So people complicate their lives, and the pressure on the people today growing up, the children, you are born. You cannot imagine what they are growing into. Fortunately, I notice the young people, they are just growing up with this, They have just these two strong muscles, and they just go, and they walk through this internet jungle, I'm out of it. I got stuck in the analog time. If something doesn't have buttons, I get nervous. And to operate a phone, just look at the diameter of my finger. I'm a little bit piano player. This is like diameter of twice the normal finger of a person. So how do I find on a phone that, I hit the mobile phone, it lightens up like a Christmas tree, and then it starts to do things. Always doing something as I don't want this to do this. And, you say, internet is a good way to transmit information. Fast way we can communicate. Really, can we? Everything is complicated. I always used to laugh because I used to manage restaurants, So internet for me is like a restaurant which people sit down, want to eat, they're hungry. And then they order. There's a menu, Okay, we want to eat this. And then they do something in the kitchen. And they bring it to them. They go, oh, very nice. Now we start to eat. Just about when we start to eat, the cook comes from the kitchen and goes, oh, sorry, we have to upgrade it. There's a little something missing. We will bring it back immediately. And he brings the plate away again. You go, okay. After a few minutes they bring it back. You just want to eat. Then they go, oh, it needs a certain application. You have to little bit spice on it. You go, okay, then bring the spice. No, you have to order it. Then you go another menu of spices, complicated. You have to order what spice? I don't know, I'm not a cook. But, it's without that, you cannot eat. Okay. Then finally you got the spice, you get the food. In the meanwhile, there is 100 people dancing around your table making advertisement. Buy this, buy that, buy a new washing machine. And you go, I don't want to buy a washing machine. I am hungry, I want to eat. You never get to eat. Then you just start to eat, they will take it away again. And they go, sorry, there's a new version, you can download it. This is how I feel when I go on the internet. Constantly harassment. And then you look upwards in the restaurant, there is a big camera. And they watch you all the time. What are you doing on the internet? They call it advancement. Always remembers me on Prabhupada getting new watch. First digital watch. This was a revolution in the 70s. A watch with nothing, no arms, just numbers. Prabhupada said, what is this? And they said, oh, Prabhupada, this is Omega, new digital watch, super modern. You have 4 buttons here. You push this, you push that, then it changes this. You can make a stopwatch. That's how you adjust the time. Prabhupada just looked at it and he said, well, it's very nice, but my old watch had only 1 button. This has 4 buttons. Too complicated. He just judged the buttons, the number of buttons. And that was very simple gizmo. But you get today complicated. Eating, sleeping, complicated. What kind of bed you eat, sleep on? Madrasses. You know how many sorts of madrasses you can get? You can go IKEA or whatever, 60 kinds of madrasses, I don't know. I didn't sleep on it yet, so I cannot anyway judge what kind of madras I buy. I just want some madras. I don't want to sleep on a blank floor, let's say, So finally you buy some madras. It's a complicated thing. Sleeping, it's so complicated. So eating, sleeping, mating, my God. I don't want to go in details. We don't want to embarrass anybody, but it's relatively a simple affair. Prabhupada said, a healthy man has a healthy sex. Just quoting Prabhupada. No problem. You don't have to teach this. If in a whole Germany there would be only one boy and one girl left, don't worry. They will find each other and they will know what to do. There's no seminar on this. And nowadays people go, I hope I got the right type of sex and this sex and that sex and then they cannot have sex. They have to go to the psychiatrist. I cannot have sex. So much anxiety. Do you have the right sex over this sex and that sex? And oh my God. Any monkey knows how to do that. I remember in Vrindavan, big monkey on a wall standing there. I have something going on with the monkeys in Vrindavan. And today they are aggressive. It's dangerous. But previously they were cool, So the Indians were freaking out when they saw me sometimes. They were going, watch out, monkeys are biting. Because they found me sitting on a wall with the monkeys feeding them bananas, And they were saying, this is crazy. The man is crazy, You cannot get so close to monkey. They are rascals. They are professional rascals. But I had a firm rules. I can teach you how to handle monkeys in India. You always keep one hand in a pocket. Because they don't know what you have in a pocket. It could be a stone. So they they take things, but they always watch the hand with the pocket. Because they don't know what's inside. Could be a stone, Careful. This actually, Prabhupada said, how you deal with monkeys. Always, be alert. But they are simple, and ultimately. I remember this big monkey guy. He had like 20 girlfriends that were hanging around. The man had sex on a wall while he was eating my banana. And he was looking at me like, what are you looking at? Completely cool. No problem. When he was finished with one monkey, he grabbed the other one on the tail and just had another one. Oh, no problem. Monkey sex, so easy. So, I was going, why are people so complicated? Everything is so complicated. By the way, completely missing the point what the whole thing is meant for, Yeah. I don't want to go in detail, make a lecture about Sixx Life. Prabhupada did that. Prabhupada did that on a Ratha Yatra in South America. Can you imagine? Can hear the recording. Prabhupada is starting giving lecture. I don't know exactly the date, I cannot tell you, but you can hear the recording. Prabhupada in South America, Ratha Yatra. And before Prabhupada starts to speak, there's somebody screaming. There was thousands of people. Somebody screaming there. And Prabhupada goes, then he asks his servant, what does he want? And Prabhupada goes, well, he wants to know why we don't have sex life. And then Prabhupada goes, well, this is not true. And then he gives over the mics on Ratha Yatra quite an extensive lecture how to have sex life in Krishna consciousness. I couldn't believe this when I heard this. So we all know, and we all know that it's meant for producing children. It's natural. There's nature made it like this. It's only man and all kinds of people who think, no, let's make something more out of it. Then things get complicated. Action, reaction, and reaction. Immediately. But Prabhupada said always, Krishna says, he says in this presentation, he goes, how can you say we are against sex life? Krishna says, I am the sex life. So, so we are advocating sex life. But, as Krishna says. Now some Grihasthas trying to found with Prabhupada, what does Krishna really mean by Krishna conscious sex life? When Prabhupada gave more detailed description, one brahmachari said, well, there is not really much use to that in regards to sense enjoyment. And Prabhupada said, it's a very intelligent boy. Now it's for babies. I think ladies know more what I'm talking about as men. Men are always like, can you change the point, It's getting boring, Ladies know. They're made for that. I don't want to go into this, but I went through the whole seminar. I wished I could give a birth to a child. It was so desperate. I had no idea. But I had to watch this. I never felt so helpless in my life. Completely out of my league. To become a mother, this is so amazing for me. Until today, I was like, how do they do that? Can you imagine that you have a 9 months somebody living in you? He kicks, that. A man would go crazy. He would go, oh, whoa, how do you get rid of it? Somebody kicked me inside. I call police, help, help, help. For women it's like, oh, la, 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 the little one is kicking again. Ooh. You think, how do they do that? Can you imagine there's somebody living in you? But for them, and birth, my God, I don't want to go in detail. It's so ghastly. It's so heavy. It's like a mega constipation, just to give the man some idea. It's my whole relationship to my wife changed immediately. I became so respectful, I'm not that kind of respectful man. I'm not so humble. I pretend sometimes to be humble, but I'm not. But I became really humbled. I started going, if somebody can survive this, how do you do that? This is just to mention. This is all people do since thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So Krishna arranged it like that. Let's keep it like this. That was what was this? Eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. That's of course a hot issue. How do you defend yourself? It's interpreted sometimes in a creation of house, like place to live and all this. We know in Krishna consciousness it's very simple. We have to do the needful, we need some place to sleep, okay. But we know, we cannot defend ourselves, really. Karmis, they always have new ways how to invent new ways how to defend yourself. Somebody says, oh, let's join the karate club, then you are together. No, I have a nature, I don't mind. I don't know I never trained like that, but I have affiliation for these things. I don't want to make here some crazy propaganda, but I think in Kali Yuga, even ladies should know something about this, how to kick a man, really. It's useful, if you are in a certain age, it's good, Ladies don't use fists, they use feet, and they are very good at it. Very good at it. There are ladies who are trained, if a man is too much, tack, and he's out, finished. I think this is a good thing to know. But I'm not making advertisement. I don't belong to any karate or some taekwondo school, But I think it's useful in Kali Yuga, such as things. But, then what? I have the black belt, I'm the karate man. Come, I'm well defended. Somebody just pulls up a pistol and goes, and you are finished. End of your karate. Finished. Somebody say, no problem. He can try with his pistol. I have a machine gun. Then somebody has a cannon. or a drone which would drop something on you or whatever. In the ultimate sense, somebody say, but we have a whole army, we will kill you. Nah, one atomic bomb, bloop, the whole thing is finished. So who can defend whom? I remember that recording in America, one of the stupid American presidents, they have many, actually one is more stupid as the other. It becomes pathetic. It becomes like a joke, And the President of the United States, folks, come and take shelter in me. I will give you protection. When the man spoke like this, first of all, it wasn't very convincing because he was standing high up on a stage, aloof of the people, surrounded by 120 bodyguards. And he just came with an arm-plated car, which you don't have, really. So you think, well, maybe he may be a little bit protected, but I'm still not protected. But he gave a big call to the nation, I will protect you, vote for me, And as he was speaking, because I think he was drunk or too old, lost balance, so he fell over and fell this high stage down on his bodyguards, It was quite evident, quite a graphical evidence that this man cannot protect even himself, but to speak of others. So much for the protection. Where do you find protection? I know what I'm talking about because, anyway, I don't want to get too autobiographic, but I have a very fierce impulse to protect. That's recorded since 50 years or way back, or various situations. And it's people saying, oh, this is very nice. You can protect people. No. First of all, I cannot protect everybody. And second of all, it's an impulse which can create problems. Action, and then comes heavy reaction, I got in such a situation. It's by impulse. This is such an impulse, you cannot stop it. But again, I realize always, what can I protect? What can I do? Yeah. I'm coming from a breed of people who like to take the bullet on somebody. When somebody gets shot upon, I can just fly in between and take the bullet. I kind of like it. It's a nice thing for me. Not for everybody, I think, but it's for me a pleasant thought, okay? But, but what can I do? How many bullets are flying? What can I do to protect? Bhagavatam is very firm on this. That's a warning to every parent, which are exposed to a constant regime of protection. Because small children need protection, of course. But Bhagavatam says, you cannot ultimately protect. No. There is much more higher forces, and this is described here. There is place, there is circumstances, there is the endeavor, but ultimately, without the blessing of the super soul, things are not controllable. We cannot control the environment. That doesn't mean we shouldn't. Prabhupada quoted the Christian saying, God helps those who help themselves. So we can try, and we can do our duty, but ultimately, what can we do? We cannot control anything. Like we are sitting now in a temple room, how is the building and this facility protected? At night, anybody can park the car down here and say, I don't like Hare Krishnas, come here and open the door and throw in a bomb or whatever. Just a scenario. I always wonder sometimes, how devotees are completely negligent to protection. They go, Hare Krishna, and there are people out there who can do horrible things. In Prague, just 2 weeks ago, a student climbed up the roof of the university, heavily equipped, and killed 15 people just from the roof. Just like this, out of fun. And nobody was protected. People couldn't believe it. It never happened before. Now it starts happening. I'm not painting here some fearful scenarios. So devotees always go, Namaste, and other thing. This is not. We have a wonderful way, actually, not to care very much. First of all, we know we are not this body. So what? This body is very, very fragile covering. It doesn't provide much protection, no. You know, you can break so many things on this body. Regarding defending, how much you want to defend yourself with this body? Even you may be very expert, you know, and hoo-ha, hoo-ha. You cannot compete with Cobra. Cobra doesn't need any defense system. You just raise the hood and going, you know, and everybody is running. Everybody takes distance. If I go, nothing happens really. There are animals who are perfectly equipped, you know. Hedgehog, you know, just needles, you know. Something comes, pop. It's a needle ball. It's not very, very palatable to touch it. There are animals who, on command, can stink so much that everybody runs away. They just produce such a smell that everybody goes, you know, goes away. They're perfectly equipped. But when you look at this human body, it's not equipped like this. Because it's meant for another purpose. It's not meant ultimately for the purpose of just eating, sleeping, mating and defending. It's very obvious. How much you can sleep? Well, some people are pretty good. I was a while in Denmark. Proud. They are champions, so far I saw. In Denmark, you know, they don't ask you, hello, how are you doing? They ask you, hello, did you have a good sleep? You think, why are they asking that? Because this is very important to them. You know, one of my godbrothers, he said, Denmark is a place, you just fly with the airplane over it and you fall asleep. The Tamagun is reaching all the way up there. You know, they're really good. People can sleep 2 days, you know, yeah. You know, but you have to wake up one way or another. And usually when you wake up, it's horrible. You know, you try to sleep a lot. The more you sleep, the worse it gets. You get more and more tired. And you get more morose, you know. It's tamagun. So sleeping. What can we do? Yeah, but if you are bear, something. Oh, the guy goes to sleep in autumn and wakes up in springtime. He sleeps the whole winter through. And he has his own sleeping bag, you know. Doesn't pay any rent. Nothing. He just goes somewhere, digs himself in and wakes up in the springtime. Yeah? So this is luxury. He has the bodies for that. Eating, how much we can eat. Now I devotees who are expert, they can really eat a lot. I know even one bhakta, he is like one of these eternal bhaktas, he never got initiated, but he has a name, Mahaprasadas. I mean, he's a ferocious eater. I don't know what kind of digestion the man has, but since years he's eating so much you cannot imagine. I mean, I run a restaurant, and I remember we had a special rules for devotees. Actually, at the end, we invited devotees not to eat in a restaurant, but eat like in a temple room, a little bit aside, because people were shocked. I mean, normal customers, you know, especially Swedish. Swedish people, they don't know how to cook. They eat like one dry bread, one dry fish, and this is the, you know, that's it. And then comes the devotees, you know. I remember how these people sit on the tables in a restaurant. There was a devotee sitting next to them. And they thought, wow, they will have a party here. Big plate, this high, you know, with prasadam. And they said, oh yeah, okay. And then they're waiting, then there's the others coming. No, that was for him. You know, one person eating that much, people were amazed. They were like, how can you put so much food in one human being? You have to be a devotee for that. We had in Deutschland, in Germany, we had one devotee. His whole philosophy of Krishna consciousness was about prasadam. He said, you know, the books, I like it. It's a very, very many years devotee. You know, yeah. Vishnu Yasha, I don't know, nobody knows. And he spoke the whole day just about prasadam, basically. He liked chanting and prasadam. He said the books, he liked the Krishna book, but otherwise he said, I don't understand it much. But prasadam, his famous line of preaching was, every 7 years the body gets rejuvenated, stated in the Shastra. So if you eat 7 years prasadam, after 7 years your whole body is prasadam. That was his line of preaching. Sounds quite speculated, but he was fascinated by that idea, that he's creating a body out of prasadam. You know? We used to have him as an appetizer in a Sunday feast. We put him, when the prasadam session came, we put him in the middle and surrounded him like, like a Janmashtami offering with plates, like in a circle. And people were going, wow, is he going to eat all this? And he preached, this is this and this is that, and 7 years and you have a pure prasadam body. And he slowly emptied out the whole circle of plates around him. Just by seeing this, people got so hungry they started to take prasadam too, So we used him like that. So eating, but still there's a limit. If you want to eat the whole day, you have to become a cow. It's great. You eat and it all comes back and you eat again. I think they have what? 5, 6, 7 stomachs or so, I don't know. You have many stomachs. Then they go the whole day. We cannot compete with that. And then comes a certain age. When you eat and eat, you become sick. The body doesn't recycle the whole thing anymore. So, problem. It's a problem. Eating, sleeping, mating, we already had, and defending. We are very limited. When you look at the body, it's clearly indicating that it has another purpose. Because we have something all the animals don't have. It's called the brain. And the ability to learn, discriminate, and cultivate higher level of consciousness. No animal is doing that. Animals can learn some tricks and this, that they can learn by copy something. But otherwise, they are not striving for heightening up their consciousness. It will be horrible. Just imagine a pig becomes intellectual. Or it heightens its consciousness and realizes, my God, I'm a pig. It's horrible. There will be very depressed pigs, Many, many depressed pigs. So Krishna is so kind, he gives to every form exactly the right consciousness, the taste to it. Oh yeah, it's garbage, we are going to eat it all. And exactly the enthusiasm is perfect. When you watch this is all under the direction of Super Soul. It's so beautifully everything arranged. So Krishna consciousness means no innovation. Innovation means you learn more and more newly to understand how everything is already perfect. Everything is already arranged by Krishna. He's in the heart of everybody. He's directing everything. They always talk about harmony. It's a popular word, and the esoteric people, how to harmony, You sit and do nothing. I remember once with Bhakti Bhushan Maharaj, we had a program in Berlin in such a harmony club. It was a yogi club. They invited us. So we came there with our equipment. We were just 2 brahmacharis preaching in Berlin. So we had our banana box with papadams and some bottle with lassi, and that was basically it. And then we came there, and we came in a dark room. It was completely dark. And there was a candle in the middle, burning. And they were all sitting there just. And everybody was staring at the candle. It was quiet. Nobody did anything. No action, no reaction. We were sitting there in the back, waiting until they are ready with the session. And Bhakti Bhushan Maharaj, he was those days a little bit more fiery. We were young brahmacharis, So, and when you go in Sankirtan, you get the unfortunate gift to be able quite often to read people's minds. So the minds of these people were incredible. They were all sitting there, and the yogi was staring at the candle, and then he was staring at the yogini behind the candle. That was actually what was the more important to him, as the candle was the yogini. And it was like, it was heavily loaded atmosphere. And we were sitting in the middle of the intense meditation. Bhakti Bhushan Maharaj, next to him, he goes like this. Just bursts out in laughter. Completely ruining the whole session, And I was like, put the light on and we disturbed the whole meditation, I mean, he couldn't stop it. It was just so pathetic. It was so pathetic. They try not to be the doers, not to act, and they were all very active on a mental plane. Prabhupada gives example, even at night we are active. These dreams and you dream, so many things you can dream, but in action, yeah. Then you wake up, you kind of forget the whole thing and you keep on dreaming in another way. It's just dreaming all the time. Prabhupada called it night and daydream. You keep on dreaming, just always desire. And the desires get projected into the night. Because you had some desire. You want, lots of riches, but you're afraid your relatives will steal it. And then you dream, horror dream. It's a big golden mountain, it's all yours, but it's full of your relatives. Something like that. Because the mind just patch it up together, just indiscriminately. Create some hallucination. And you wake up, yeah. Completely illusory. Why should we waste time like this? The devotee, our policy is mixing simple. Simple eating, simple sleeping. You can buy a fancy mattress in IKEA, but when you sleep you don't know one damn thing, I always laughed when you go in IKEA, they sit on this mattress and they go, they test how it feels like. Well, when you sleep you don't feel one damn thing. And sometimes you cannot sleep, you know why? Because you are dreaming how to pay the debt you created by buying many mattresses. So you cannot sleep. You go, mortgage, how do I pay? So karma life is full of these bizarre events. It's full. It's one illusion on the other. The more we realize it, then as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, what is day for them, that becomes night to you. And what is night for them, that becomes day for them. It's incompatible. Sometimes devotees try to be compatible with the karmic society. Good luck. The more Krishna conscious you are, the more incompatible we will be. And it doesn't matter what you do. That doesn't mean we should be arrogant, or provocative or something like that. No. But even you try to be decent and normal, they will smell you. They will know this is a devotee. This is not like us. He is not like us. He's a devotee. And there will be some who will be actually attracted. They go, how is it all so crazy? Actually, when you go on the street and you tell people it's all crazy, practically all people will agree. They will all agree. It's all crazy here. So I think, how is it possible? In the middle of the craziness, you have this smiling person walking around. Hello, isn't it crazy? Very nice. Only in Krishna consciousness, can you imagine, we have such a philosophy and we got such a lifestyle, we can smile and die. Karmis cannot do that. They don't know how to do this. They're all like, oh, I will die. I will die. So how can you become happy when you are afraid all the time you will die? It's not possible. They know this is temporary, this will crack. So they are all, let's enjoy the last bit before we die. Oh, This is in itself already a big misery. I remember this, I always quote this one Italian Mataji went to the doctor and he diagnosed her, he said, it's serious, very serious. The breast cancer, he said, very advanced stage, you will probably die in 3 months. Sorry, but I have a very serious news for you. You have maybe 3 months to live. And the Mataji looked at him, he said, I have also very serious news for you. You will die too. Maybe a little bit later, but you will die too. And the doctor was shocked. He never had such a patient, So he said, no, you don't understand. You will die in 3 months. He said, no, you don't understand. You're completely in Maya. And she preached to him. The doctor was shocked. He said, what kind of people are these? And the funny thing is, she didn't die. The cancer kind of retreated, she didn't die. Maybe the doctor died earlier, yeah. So, this is certain. We will all die, sure. What can I do about it? What can defend, what can protect me from death? Only Krishna consciousness at the end. I don't know if you ever had the practical experience seeing old people close to death and finally dying. I had such an experience a few times. I tell you, it's tragical. There is dying, you have nothing. All what you worked for and dreamed about and hoped is gone. And now you are facing a big empty hole. You're just stopping breathing, that's all. Like animals do. Horrible. Horrible. Whereby we have the example of Srila Prabhupada. He preached to the last minute. The last purport he dictated. Practically, actually the doctor said this body is not dysfunctionable. It cannot function anymore. This cannot be physically explained. Why he is still living and why he is still dictating here, translating books. And then devotees were knowing that this is reaching the end. It was a very dramatical time, very intense. The whole world, all devotees were just in such a tensity you cannot imagine. It was very dramatical. And when Prabhupada was closing his eyes, he said, I think I will die tomorrow. And devotees were like, no, what can we do, Prabhupada? Well, then he said this, what keeps me here is only the results of book distribution. So we had marathons, non-stop, just for that. We had a prayer, please, dear Krishna, keep our spiritual master here. And it was really, really intense. Everybody on the whole planet. Prabhupada used even his death to increase book distribution. He said always double it. So it was mad times, I tell you. We stopped sleeping, eating, everybody was just like this. It was mad. And then devotees were going, and then Prabhupada said, pray for me. He was going, us? Praying for you? Who's us? Prabhupada said, no. You are devotees, you can pray to Krishna, he will hear. So devotees were praying and praying. And they said, Prabhupada, we were praying. What did Krishna say? And Prabhupada said, probably I will not die tomorrow, I will die thereafter. Again, bang, big praying, distribution, everything. It was panic all over the place. And then Prabhupada, then they said, Prabhupada, can you please ask Krishna, if he could tell you how long you can still stay. And then Prabhupada was closing his eyes. It was an incredible moment. And he was going, like you make a phone call, It's like, Then Prabhupada opened his eyes and he gave a big yawn. Like completely like, He said, I think I will stay for a little while more. He was, it was this kind of drama was going on. And then the biggest lecture which came, when Prabhupada was really in his last days, day before he left Bodhisattva, he had the eyes closed, he opened the eyes, and there was this moaning disciple standing around, and he said, and don't think this will not happen to you. That was a heavy lecture. Very convincing. And everybody realized, one day I'm going to lie like this here. Now this is not really to depress people. One should learn in Krishna consciousness how to not to fear the death. Just from the very simple point of view, because it's unavoidable. So why shall I fear something which comes anyway? This is one thing for sure. We don't know what happens tomorrow. That we don't know. But we know we are going to die. That's 100% sure. So why to be in panic over that? And we cannot control this. How many times I saw devotees, I could tell you stories, my God, who were supposed to die, they didn't. Oh, the temple president in Salem temple in South India, he's from Croatia actually. He was in the middle of the Croatian war, you know. And he was already chanting, he was a devotee. Can you imagine a bomb exploded into his house? Somebody was just tank or whatever. It blew all the front side from the house away. And so he was sitting on a table, he was just chanting. The pressure from the impact of the bomb just slammed it on a wall, you know, like this. And then the fragments of the bomb were flying everywhere. You know, it's little like fragments. You know. So he was thinking, this is it. He was there, just slammed against the wall, and he said he waited just, okay, now I'm going to leaving the body. And then the dust settled down. Here I was, I'm still alive. And he was still stuck on a wall like this from the pressure. And then he came down from the wall, looked around, everything was mush from these little fragments. And then he looked back on a wall, and the wall was full of impact of these little fragments, but never in a place where he was standing like this. There was a silhouette of him, like this, on the wall, from this. Not one thing, he didn't got even a scratch. He was going, Hare Krishna. Wow. That's amazing. So without a super soul, you cannot die. It's not possible. You cannot even die without a super soul. And super soul says, no, you will not die. There are so many incidents, devotees can tell so many stories, you know. Yeah. How they were shot upon in dangerous situations, you know. And some devotees left the body, and some didn't. Even under most bizarre circumstances. Prabhupada was like that. Oh, this is a good example. Prabhupada said, I like Prasadam. I always like Prasadam. So the Japanese were, it was Germans, but Japanese, bombing Calcutta, you know. So he said there was a big sound, bombs are coming, everybody was running for some shelter. Prabhupada said, I was in the middle of my Prasadam. So they said, Abai Babu, you must come, it's very dangerous, you know, we are hiding, come on. He said, hiding where? Yeah, he knew some cellar or some hole. No, I'm in my Prasadam. So Prabhupada said, then I heard the bombs falling. Prabhupada said, I remember the universal form of the Lord, you know. Prabhupada said, not very lovable form. We don't worship actually the universal form, you know, it's not so, it cannot be loved, you know, really. Arjuna was horrified when he saw it. So, so Prabhupada said, yeah, but I finished my prasadam. Then I went down also in some kind of so-called shelter, but I didn't believe in it much. Because a devotee thinks, no, it's Krishna protecting. I could give from the Sankirtan, there is so many stories, you know. I remember this one from Freiburg. That was really vivid. I distributed in Freiburg, and then there were screams in the streets. You know, Freiburg city, it's like at the shopping street are like little network, and there's even a water running there. You know, so from the small side streets, there was screaming. There was in the summer. I was in Dori. It was amazing. I was not going very often in Dori, but that day I was in Dori. And there was a man, half naked, walking around with a belt in a hand, heavy leather belt. And he was just beating people, everybody he met, really violently. People were screaming, running here and there, just a madman, you know. So I saw him, I was going, and then I went in a side street, and he was always somewhat close. I could hear the screams. Finally, in Freiburg, if you know the city, there's a big marketplace in the middle. So I was going, I have enough of this rascal. He's disturbing my book distribution here. I don't care. I leave it up to Krishna. Sorry, I am doing the right thing on the right place, right time. Krishna, please, take care of it. you know. So I went actually in a marketplace, in an open space. And there was actually one nice lady, you know, she came around and she took a book. Then I saw the man coming around the corner and he saw me, Indori. And he immediately focused on me. And he came very fast towards me with his belt swinging, you know. So I was going, normally I wouldn't do that. But at that day, I don't know why I did that. I said, okay, it's enough of this. Krishna, this is up to you. I'm trying since half an hour hiding away from this rascal and it doesn't work. So it's up to you. I'm distributing your books. I purposefully turn my back towards him and try to approach another lady, you know. Then he came from behind and he hit me with the belt just so I fell on the floor. I expected that more or less. So I was flying on the floor, the books came out of my hands and I was lying there, stretched out, completely defenseless. And I was chanting Namaste Narashringaya. So loud, the loudest I could. Namaste Narashringaya. And the guy bent over me with the belt and he wanted to hit me fully. You know what happened? He couldn't move. It's like paralyzed. He was standing over me like this. And he yelled at me, "Stop it! Stop it!" And I was going, well, that's what I wanted to say, you know. He was going, he couldn't move. It's like somebody really paralyzed him. He couldn't make a move. He couldn't go backwards, forwards, he couldn't move the arm, nothing. He was like, "Stop it!" You know. The same moment came around the corner, a Volkswagen bus full with policemen. And they just came full speed, almost drove him over, jumped out, 6 guys, you know. And they mushed him up. I was just still lying there. And there was, you know, and they were just bang, 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 boom, bang, bang. And they threw him on the floor in a Volkswagen bus. His foot was still sticking out. And they closed the door, including the foot, you know. It was going, you know. And they were sitting on him and just, and they drove away. It was in 1 second, it was over. And I was still lying there, you know, with the books around me, and I was like, there were many people there. It's a marketplace, you know. And the people were like, so I just was going, hey, this is like a theater, you know. It looked like performance. So I just got up, collected the books, and ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the performance. Please, if you are interested, we have a very interesting books here, you know, like that. And actually 2 ladies came and they bought books, you know. It was like so funny. So that was my experience. What can happen if Krishna says, no, it's enough? Nothing will happen to you. The only problem, Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj said, the problem is that we forget Krishna. Forget, that's the only problem we have. Where is our Krishna consciousness? Otherwise, everything else is... It doesn't invite a reckless action. We have to be careful, of course, but simultaneously without fear. Prabhupada said, you can judge your advancement in Krishna consciousness from the absence of fear. When you look at it, what are we afraid of still? And we met even, you know, devotees who are not so advanced, they are motivated by fear. And they can do horrible things, I tell you, out of fear. Irrational things. This is what Maya does. She goes, can you imagine if it would happen? What about if it could happen? And you are already, oh yeah, it could happen, isn't it? It could. You are already compromised. And Maya goes, woof, and then this will happen, and that will happen, and this coming, you know. Oh, and you don't know where it's coming from, but it's coming. It's big. You don't know what it is, but it's big. It's ugly, and it's coming. And we are like, yeah. Kamis are like that all the time. It's horrible life. You know why devotees are so happy? Because they have no fear. This is the reason. It's not pure love of Godhead. We just gave up. We just gave up. It's like a child, you know. Children sometimes you see, they are so bold, you know. Yeah. Or a dog. Oh my God. Dogs can be so, you know, such a dog. But because he's with his master, he goes... It happened to me on Sankirtan once. I don't do this anymore. But it happened to me. I went in Germany. It's very difficult to get to people's houses. Even the front gate is open. You have to walk through the garden and there's a dog. There's a big sign, beware of the dog. Vorsicht, bissiger Hund. It's there. So, so devotees, sometimes we went door to door in some locations. It's an issue, What do you do with the dog? I'm pretty good at it. I can handle even heavy dogs. You just pet them. You go, a big dog, yes, I agree. You are big. And then they go, bona fide, come in. They are really, dogs are persons, Sometimes people flipped out. I ring the bell finally, get to the entrance door, they open the door and they go, where's the dog? And the dog sits behind next to me and going, They go, what have you done with it? He bit yesterday the postman. What have you done to him? I told him, this is in the books, it's all persons here, buy a book. You can use anything for that. So I can talk it out with most of the dogs. But then I got this little one. And he bit even in my pants, I had him hanging here. And I got so fed up. So I just took the dog and threw him over the fence to the neighbor. He was shocked. Nobody ever did such a thing to him. The little dog, boop, boop, And then I ring the bell and people are going, where's the dog? I said, what dog? I don't know. And then he looked, and behind the fence, there was this fence, neighbors, there was this little dog, their dog, and he was like, they were going, how did our dog get to the neighbor in a garden like this, That was our Sankirtan things, So, fear. We have to get rid of that fear. Fear of what? Rationally, think about this. What are we afraid? To lose the body? That we are going to do anyway. To be slandered or blasphemed by somebody? Don't worry, you will get it anyway. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what you do. Somebody will come and... I don't want to go again to the ordeal of the temple president, but it doesn't matter what you do. Somebody will say, well, he was not nice to me, or something like that. Purely emotional business. There's usually, most of the time, there is no rationality to it. You've worked the whole day like crazy so that people can be engaged in devotional service. And anyway, some will say, well, I want to be engaged in devotional service, but not like this. Why are you telling me like that? I want to be engaged like this. And what can you do with that? It's endless. You say, no, I would like that you are engaged like this, but because of him and her, you cannot be engaged like this. We are more people here. You are not alone here, They will not get it. They will go, I got mistreated. And then sometimes they walk out of the door. You can do nothing about it. You cannot please everybody. Impossible. And it's hard. For a devotee, it's very hard. We call it the Arjuna syndrome. Like Arjuna goes, I will not fight. I will not fight. I will not do my duty. I will cause so much harm, and there will be unwanted children. He had a very rational reasons. And Krishna anyway goes, all this nice talk, but you forgot one thing. I am the super soul. It's all under my direction, and I want you to fight this, to do it. So if we conduct our lives like that, actually, we become very happy people. We are always afraid to lose something. What? You will lose it anyway. Sorry, but I know how intense the attachment of parents is. I know it. I have a daughter too, And how many devotees I met, yeah, I studied the whole philosophy. I know. I read even the shloka, we are detached, no fear. Now a little daughter was born to me. I'm watching myself being helplessly attached up to here. I cannot stop it. What shall I do with it? No, it will go away on its own. Don't worry. Because children grow up and they will walk out and they will do their thing and you cannot stop it. They are individual persons. This is like example. And there are so many things in our lives. What are we afraid of? This is a very important question. Because when we have that clear, then suddenly our life becomes very simple. We become very happy people. I'm afraid I cannot control you. Well, you cannot. Sorry, you cannot. Because even Krishna cannot do that. But to speak of you. We have an individual free will and we are going to use it on a certain point. That's all. So what are we afraid of? When you suddenly have this issue cleared and you just say, okay, Krishna, it's up to you. I'm just trying my service day by day. I wake up, I chant my rounds, I try to serve you. That's all. Devotees are very pragmatic people. They just work day by day, fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness. What comes out of it, up to Krishna. What happens, up to Krishna. I'm just here, working, trying to cultivate my Krishna consciousness. And in this way, suddenly the life becomes very simple. There's some question, please, some comments to this. Huh?
It's a more general question, not so much about the topic. It's okay. Yeah. It's a more general question, not so much about the topic, if that's all right for you. Because I'm always very impressed with devotees who are so long in Krishna consciousness and still have so much taste for the service, for your Sankirtan and preaching. So I would just like to ask, what are your secrets to stay in Krishna consciousness for such a long time?
There's no secret, really. It's again so simple you cannot imagine. It's so simple that most people miss it. It's to admit yourself how helpless you are and learn how to fully depend on Krishna. There's devotees who are pushing me to write a biography. It will be such a big book you cannot imagine. It will be a whole library. I had a wonderful life. It was for sure not boring, that I can tell you. I have pity upon karmis who are spending their boring, mediocre little lives. Once a lifetime driving from Passau to Munich. Come on. Having the little gardens full of fee and cutting grass and waiting, maybe something happens. From my childhood, if I remember, I said, I will not become like this. I don't want to live like this. But I had no idea, so I was desperate. I said, no, I will not be pushed into some pit hole like this. No, I wasn't. My whole life is a one big roller coaster ride. It's not just up, it's down too. So I would tell you the whole night. I could sit here and tell you stories. You wouldn't. I myself wondered sometimes, hey, I survived that one. It's amazing. I really thought I will die. No, I didn't. They have a saying, I don't know in German, but they have a saying, whatever doesn't kill you makes you strong. From that point of view, I feel incredibly invigorated. Because this, this dark times and this, I know, but I tell you one thing, by the end of my life, and I think I'm reaching the final stretch, I became actually an incredible optimist. I'm coming from Czech Republic, that's the champion land of pessimists. They can ruin your day with a dark humor instantly. Czechs are really good at this. So I can do it also. But by the end of the day, I became an incredible optimist. Just imagine, okay? Just a brief look on the history of Simhachalam. There was a time this place was almost for sale. It was so, maybe some older ones can still remember, it looked very dark here. There was hardly any devotees. The standards were practically non-existent. I just passed through here. I wasn't living here. I just passed through. I was going, okay. Probably this is going down. There was, what do you do with a place in the middle of nowhere? Who is going to come to a place of middle of nowhere? I know the idea why this place was created, the original idea. I'm not going to go into this, but it was not what it is today. Coming today here, you know how optimistic I become? You know how many devotees struggled just to build this temple room? We were out there with candles for 2 years. Not books, candles. We became one of the biggest candle producers in Germany. This place is built from candles. When I see Simhachalam, I just see candles. Thousands and thousands of candles being sold. Money just being collected. For a place, it was not our idea even. Why to have a farm in a place which is high up there? Not exactly, there are better places in Germany to have a farm. On the Czech border here, with the communistic Czechoslovakia on the other side. And, Now I can say I can understand the purpose behind the whole thing. Now I can say, thanks to these wonderful devotees today here, that, how much the place changed for best. From devotee point of view, just from human point of view, it was never in such a good shape. There was always some problems here, You have a farm without a farmer. This is ISKCON, Let's have a farm. And then they have a farm and they go, where's the farmer? We'll find some farmer. I know from a guy from Hungary. He is, not from Hungary, from Albania. I think he's a good farmer. Then comes some guy from Albania and they go, well, it's not really a farmer. And it goes like this. This is not called cow protection, this is called cow experiment. So it's very dangerous to do such a thing. I mean, how many of these things we saw? But the way this place improved, I could get you, and I don't know Govindadev Prabhu, I don't know, probably I saw you were like this, I don't know, probably, running some small boy around. I don't care, I cannot connect it anymore, probably. I was passing by and you were this size, I don't know. Now you have a serious grown-up man who is taking such a load of responsibility. And it's a young man still. A generation change took place here. You know what? I love the young ones coming out. Whenever I see these Gurukulis and the children of devotees, I think, please Krishna, maybe one of them, or maybe 2 or 3, please come forward. Come on, you got Krishna consciousness from the day you could breathe. You were hearing the holy name already being in a womb. Use it. It doesn't take so much. What do you need? A place to live, place to sleep, some eating. We described before what that means. So this is happening here. It's so inspiring. You know what? Because I will die, probably sooner like you. But you will stay. And a very serious older devotee. And that's what keeps you alive and going. That you pray for the continuation of spreading Krishna consciousness. You know what Prabhupada did in the days he was practically leaving the body? They carried him out in a courtyard in Vrindavan, in this chair, which was like a palanquin. They carried him out. And you know what he did? He was just watching Gurukulis boys dancing in front of him. That gave him so much joy. Because he was thinking maybe at least few of these, they will keep on going. It's common on a certain age, You don't think about yourself. You don't think about, So that's actually one of the aspects, if you ask. What keeps me going is association with the young ones. No, I don't want to speak about the old ones. Sorry. I will skip that one. But I know some old ones who act like young ones. Srila Prabhupada did that, He was the youngest member of the Hare Krishna movement. He was teaching these depressed hippies how to dance, And his Krishna consciousness, his bliss was infectious. I pray to Krishna, I don't want to be a senior Vaishnava. Very senior. Like a senior cheese, You know what senior cheese does? Mature Vaishnava. Mature cheese. You know what it does? It stinks. Not like this. I pray Krishna, no. And it's easy how to avoid it. You just stay with the young ones. Where are they? You stay close to people who are living, breathing, living, who are excited about Krishna consciousness. It depends. We have a choice or association. So when I meet some very senior, depressed old man, not easy in Krishna consciousness. And we have to become very, very learned. We have to learn and study and study and learn, because it's not easy. Who's going to join such a club? It's an old age home, sorry. You ever went to old age home? That's a real thing. I think devotees should do that. My father was last 2 years in an old age home before he died. Oh, that was very educational. He's in Krishna, anything, but not this. It's a very expensive old age home. Full of completely bodily, desperate, fearful, crazy people. But look at Prabhupada. Almost died. How old he was. And he goes, Haribol, So this is an example. This is how you stay alive. You take shelter in Prabhupada and you look at this example with all what he said, what he did. We have such a documentation. There is no Acharya in a history of Vaishnava history who is so documented like Prabhupada. In film, in audio, books, everything. So you have just to study Prabhupada. And then you can avoid all this. No, maybe I'm not so challenged materially spoken like some of my god brothers and this. Sometimes I'm ashamed how healthy I am in comparison to them. But I feel I'm not 18 years old anymore. I feel that. But I tell you quite frankly, from my consciousness, from my mind, I'm worse like when I was 18. When I was 18, I was thinking, it's all crazy here. Now I know why it's crazy. I got, thanks to Prabhupada, the picture why it's crazy. And I have something to give in response. I have a way to oppose this. So that keeps you alive. I made a program, I refuse to join a league of, mature, senior cheeses. No, please, no. And I hope I'm not insulting anybody, but no, not this. We have a right in Krishna consciousness to stay young. And the body? Yeah, the body, yes, the body, yeah, well, You don't see me, running around as I used to do. But I can still run. So, as long as I feel that urge, I wake up in the morning, I go, let's hit it. Then I want to use it somewhere. The only problem I have sometimes is that I cannot use it. And you lock me in some, bhajan kutir, I will probably smash that bhajan kutir, it will not take long. I will just go, this is getting too far out here. There's nothing happening here. And if I feel a little bit like, okay, now I feel I'm getting really old, I just stay with the young ones. They keep me going. They kick me. Sorry, I sometimes I have the tendency to get personal, but today I had a long talk with Björn, yeah? My God, I felt like 10 years younger after that. Somebody who is interested in Krishna consciousness and goes, what did you say? I have to write it down. Oh, my God, when somebody kicks me like this, I can go day and night. I really forget sleeping. And as soon as he leaves, I go, well, I'm a senior Vaishnava again. So I keep myself close to people who are alive. And that makes me alive. And I feel I have the obligation and the duty to Srila Prabhupada not to become a frustrated old man. Because he didn't do that. What do you want to preach with this? People look at you and young devotees, they look at you, I'm going to become also like that. He's chanting 50 years Hare Krishna and now he is just looking like just about to commit suicide. Not a very good example, I tell you. So it's so wonderful to be here from that point of view. And age is no limit. I'm meeting down the road, I travel most of the time. I am meeting old people who are older like me. And they are very young. I never forget a scene on Mayapur. I was still quite a young boy. One of the first parikramas I joined in Mayapur. Those days when you go on parikrama, then every year was some other transportation. One year it was buses, next year it was boats, and that year they rented trucks. And the worst thing was that this truck, there was some oily substance in it. So you were sitting on a truck, and gliding around with this black oily stuff. And then they put some hay on it, just simple. So I was sitting there, it was packed with devotees, the truck. So we were sitting inside in the open truck, And then, and before they closed the back part, an old man appeared just in front of the gate in Mayapur. He wanted to also go with us. Old local, Bengali. Vaishnava. He had tilak. He had a really old bead bag. It was really worn out. And he was going, I also want to go. So we were young brahmacharis, we just grabbed him, He was so light, it was just skin and bone. He just flew into the truck, We just pulled him in, he was like, woo! And he ended up landing practically on my lap. And he was just chanting, and then truck driving, and Indian roads, just bang, 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 bang. And he was chanting, he was very happy to go with us on parikrama. And I looked in his face, I was going, there's something strange with that guy. I mean, he was brilliant, his eyes were like diamonds. He was completely in bliss. He was running, but anytime the car made bang, his teeth came out. So I was going, whoo! And he was like, ugh! And he was going, and he always pushed his teeth backwards. In India, those days, dentists didn't exist actually. So actually, it was a little bit too big, I don't know. So, and practically all his teeth were false. It was just one of these things you just put in a mouth, He had no teeth. So anytime the truck was bumping, his teeth were coming out. And he was this close to me. And he was chanting happily, And then came a big hole, bang! And all his teeth were falling out in his lap. It was just a plastic thing like this, And he looked at me like, anyway. And then he took the teeth and put them in the pocket. And then he was chanting without teeth. And he was completely in bliss. I was so envious. There was such a purity and detachment in that man, you know. He was so, anyway, you know, he was so blissful. I never forgot that moment. I was thinking, I would like to become like this. No teeth, total bliss. That can happen in Krishna consciousness. Let's do it. Let's not become a fearful, old, grumpy people chanting and giving lecture about the apocalyptic destruction of the universe. You know what? I have a big news. You will all die. And this material world is Maya. And now we die. That's the end of the lecture. I heard lectures like this. I was going, oh my man, the man has a really problem, you know. Now, make a program not to become like this. It's possible. Prabhupada gave us everything what we need to stay happy in this lifetime. And when we feel misery, it's usually just because of attachment. That's all. We are attached to something. We don't even know exactly what it can be. But our only misery is the attachment. The more we become detached, the more we become happy. And Krishna is so amazing. You know how many times in my life I was standing like in front of a wall? My service collapsed. It was not my fault. Everything disappeared. My service, my authorities, most of the devotees, all gone. And I was standing there, especially when you have a family with a small child, you can become a little bit desperate. It's not because of me, but you have a family. You know what happened? Krishna always opened another door. Like out of nowhere. You just have to be ready for that. You know? And you know what I realized what Krishna is doing with me? He's training me not to be attached and accept things unconditionally. This is how I live. I came here by the mercy of Govinda Dev Prabhu, and I took part in this wonderful festival, and then I got message from Croatia. You were in September here making a tour. We all want that you come back. Please come to Croatia. Well, I was thinking it was not originally really my plan, but if they want to, I was saying, okay, how do I get to Croatia? Oh. And that became, I don't want to get in detail, became problematic, and suddenly just things cleared out. Tomorrow night I'm in Rijeka in Croatia starting 1 month preaching tour. I didn't really plan for that. And I will be completely at the mercy of the devotees. They will ship me around like a package, like a suitcase, from one place to the other. This is usually congregational places. There's only one like established temple, it's in Zagreb, but otherwise it's just the congregational places. And you find yourself in most far out circumstances. You just chant Hare Krishna, walk around, talk about Prabhupada, they like to hear that, and and I'm a kind of universal man. I try to convince Govinda Dev Prabhu that I am not just a senior Vaishnava who will sit here in a room and give one lecture a week, if I would be here. Forget it. You will find me with a chainsaw running around, you will find me doing nailing things or doing something. I have to do something. By the way, I have a list for you with suggestions what I can do next time I come. I have to finish, huh? Time out?
No, yeah, I mean, as long as people are here, you can talk.
Huh? You have to tell me. I'm finishing.
It's open and Manidhara is calling me.
Huh?
Manidhara is calling me.
You have to go.
Manidhara is calling me. Did you come continue?
But I'm leaving tomorrow morning, so.
We'll see each other.
Huh?
We'll see each other.
Yeah? Okay. I'm just giving, no, somebody can say, I cannot live like this. And it's okay. As a grihastha family, it brings obligations, it locates one more, it ties one more. I did this, it's beyond me now. But I just give it as an example. Krishna is always there. He will always help you. If you want to, they say, but you have to give up more and more the conditions. I don't belong to any country anymore. I have no fixed really place of residence. I have some passports, I think. 3 of them. Different names, different nationalities. I don't care. When they ask me, where are you living? Devotees ask me, where are you living? I said, in the car. This is my fixed place of residence. Now I have a nature for this. You have to have a specific nature. For me, if I cover 1,000 kilometers a day, I'm a blissful man. I give lecture in Rijeka, this is on the Croatian coast, and I end up in Prague. This is 1,000 kilometers. I'm like, okay. You know. But not everybody, maybe it's like that. But the point is, which can be made for everybody, is the more we give up the conditions and the fear, I cannot move to that place because I don't know what's happening. You know, I cannot relocate myself, I don't know what's happening. Well, that you don't know right now either, in your place either. You think this will stay like this forever here? Nothing stays forever. You know, this can change, everything can change. Who knows what? You will have an Arabic Germany, or I don't know what. There will be Chinese Czech, or whatever. No problem, it can happen, anything can happen. People think this is bizarre. No, it did happen in the past. You know how many owners had Czech Republic? Everybody came. Once it was Polish, then it was Russian, then it was German, then it was Austrian. And the Czechs, they have their own jokes about this. There was always somebody there, owning the country. You know, changing, all the time changing. And so people are so attached. My home and my place. This is heavy conditioning. And this is what Krishna wants to get rid of. You belong to Krishna. And wherever Krishna wants you to go, then you say, well, this is for the sannyasis, you know, it's not for me. Sorry, but Krishna has this kind of training for everybody. Things will change. That's for sure. Nothing will stay as it is. People change. I don't want to go now into the grihastha, you know, love stories, but they do change. Sometimes it's funny, young devotees, they go, what is he talking about? They still have these pink dreams, you know, these pink things in their head. The older ones, they know. Everything can change, and it will change. They have a joke about this, you know. In Denmark, I learned this joke. Young boy, he looks at the girl and goes, so beautiful. I wish, you know, what a nice waist and what a nice shape, and I wish she could stay like this forever. And the girl looks at the boy and goes, yeah, a little bit stupid. You know, ladies often think like this, a little bit stupid, but I will change him by my mystic power. And ladies are fully equipped to change a man, actually. Looks like that. You know what the result is? She will change. And the boy will not change. Takes like 20, 30 years before you realize it, but that's what's happening. And that also makes you peaceful. You know what? My wife will never change. And I will not change either. Can we live with that? That's the only question. Can you make a compromise? Okay? All this romantic, you know, this. I remember one really experienced woman. I learned lots from women actually by down the road. So she told me, falling in love should be forbidden by the police. That was realized. And she wasn't even bitter. She just said it in an analytical way. It's a state of madness. You don't know anything. It's just, even monkeys can do that, you know that? Back to Vrindavan, I saw monkeys sitting on a wall, he and she, and they were just sitting next to each other and looking at each other, just opposite. And the female monkey was making, and the male monkey was going, and the male monkey was going, and the female monkey was going. They were just imitating, reflecting each other's faces. They were in love. Basically just imitating faces. I know some people may get upset as this is too gross and this is too simple. No, it's... And how fast that goes? Very fast. And then comes the reality. One conditioned soul and one conditioned soul is two conditioned souls. Simple mathematics. What you do with that? She is equipped with imperfect senses, tendency to lie and cheat, most likely an illusion, and he is exactly the same. What you do with that? That's the challenge. How do you survive that one? Simple. You surrender to Krishna, you surrender to Prabhupada's books, and you seek spiritual guidance. We all need shelter. Me too. Me too. Without having a shelter, you cannot give a shelter. A simple principle. So I know my varna, I know my nature, I need shelter. So I always look that I am close to a Brahmana, to a Brahminical person. And I enjoy the shelter of a Brahminical person. Now I am an old boy, I don't need somebody holding my hands, and going, no, don't do that. But I have a wonderful godbrother who just is very close to me. We share every 2-3 days. If I don't write him 3 days, he goes, what happened? And he's Brahminical. Brahminical means short answers. I am more like, I write him 2 A4 pages, and he answers in 2 letters, in 2 lines, but perfectly. It hits exactly the point. I mean, we are godbrothers. He will never tell me, you are really idiot. He just says, well, things could be seen differently. And I know I'm an idiot. He's very gentle. Brahmanas are very gentle people usually. So it's wonderful to have such a shelter. I enjoy it totally. I need reference. We all need reference. We all need some shelter. We all need some... What is the problem between devotees, in Grihastha, ashram, everywhere? There's no shelter. They assume and make the judgments. Yes, I know. It's like that. Really, is it? Maybe it's not. I don't want to go in details, but I can quote one lady, Devaki. Maybe she was here, her. Devaki Mataji. She knows. She can explain it. It's better when woman speaks, She goes, we have one problem, we ladies. Too fast in judgment. Too fast concluding. Men do it too, but more slowly. More, Ladies are more instant. Like it, not like it. Idiot, not idiot. Interesting, not interesting. Punk, 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 punk. It's dangerous. It's dangerous to make such a fast judgment with no reference, no really thorough thought giving to the situation. Men have another problem. They think too much. They go, well, I don't know. It could still something more happen, We have to think about this. And sometimes nothing happens. They still think about it. All the options and dangers and And this is very good when a lady comes and goes, come on, let's do it. Ladies can be very good on this. They go, just do it. Okay. They get me a little kick, Yeah? Because ladies are usually incredible survivors. Men have tendency sometimes to get really depressed, but I can quote one very experienced man who lived in the 19th century. He said, ladies are amazing. They can build shelters and homes in midst of floods, earthquakes, foreign armies invading, in the middle of the most chaotic situations, and they can create a base. It's very much true. Men are always, that's not possible, it doesn't make any sense, it's all finished here. Women go, nah. There's a little piece of earth, we can still do something with it. And that will be the home. And they do it really sometimes. It's amazing. The survivors. He will live and he will reproduce ourselves here. Like this. Actually, whole society is powered by that. If you would take the women out of it, then you will have just a man sitting in a garage, fixing some machines. This one famous lady, she said that for a woman, marriage is like excursion to another dimension. For a man, it's like parking a car in a garage. Not very romantic. So what's the problem? We are sheltered here. There's a garage here, and there's a car parked here, and I have my tools here, and the place is fixed. What's the problem? Ladies go, my God, it's just a concrete pit hole. No, there's to be a pink wall here, and there's to be a decoration there, and there's to be a window over there. And the bathroom will be here, and then like this. And the man goes, oh, this is getting complicated. Yeah, it is complicated, yeah. Generally, it is complicated. But that's how society works. I always laugh at the naivety of the grihastas who thinks that they will look like sannyasis. What do you expect? I'm speaking as a man who renovated 2 houses, with no money because I had to do everything myself. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I had to do it. It's called Grihastha Ashrama. Sometimes I was thinking, what am I doing here? This is complicated. I look at my wife and she was like, no, it's not bad, but try harder. I was going, ladies know how to, heighten up the performance. Now I don't hold it against that whatsoever. It's just natural. That's what happens. So in society, when we speak about community, society, you have to work with this kind of mechanism. It's going to be like that. It started right away, way back in the Sankirtan days. You open a Sankirtan van from the brahmacharis, it's only just a pile of garbage coming out. You open a Sankirtan van from the brahmacharinis, whoa. They had even curtains in the windows, Kitchen and totally clean. Men are usually quite piggish, I have to say. They need sometimes a wife to learn how to clean up. It's like this. It's material nature arranges things like that. Why not just use it for Krishna, and do the best out of it? Prabhupada had a wonderful survival formula. If you speak about surviving in Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada said, we expect the worst and hope for the best. That's a perfect survival formula. You are aware, oh yeah, this can get really bad. But you hope for the best and go on in full dependence on Krishna. It's a wonderful way to live, Suddenly life becomes so simple. You have to stop or what?
Certainly not. I wanted to ask, because you were mentioning earlier, and now speaking also about it, how to learn to depend on Krishna. How to learn this?
Depend on Krishna.
Mhm.
Well, one way to increase it is to learn about Krishna. Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj said all sinfulness and ignorance is based on ignorance about Krishna. So that's what we are doing. We are reading, studying what Krishna can do. And then it's our individual choice and faith if we are going to trust it or not. Kamis don't trust. They say, no, I will do it myself. This is wow, this is some mythology or some. It doesn't mean anything to them. But the devotee goes, oh, Krishna says, I am there as a super soul. So we deepen and increase our faith by hearing about Krishna. And then it's also by practicing. Sadhana is quite helpful there. Chanting, chanting, chanting. This is very helpful. And tolerance, patience. It will not happen in one day. No, it takes time. The combination of patience and enthusiasm. It's a long-range run. I mean, if you ask me how I survived, I wouldn't know where to go. So I simply stayed. That's all. Otherwise, I didn't do anything special. I met devotees who did much more far things in Krishna consciousness I could do. Or much more learned, much more, like this. But sometimes they didn't stay. Because they got some other idea. So I don't have any other idea. I don't know where to go. And I have to do the needful sometimes. I don't want to become again autobiographic, but I purposefully keep myself in touch with Kamis. You know why? Because to see the horrible life of these people keeps me in reality and learns and teaches me to appreciate Krishna consciousness more and more and more. They live really hopeless lives. Like I said, I could talk the whole night, but I purposefully even took a part-time job. It was not absolutely necessary from financial point of view, but I did that. I'm a part-time driver in a car rental company. When they need me, they call me and I say if I can come or not. After 2 years, here and there driving, you don't make millions of euros like this. So, and driving for me, being in a car, well, when I get only new and fancy cars, they have only the best cars. The boss of the company, that's Prague Center, goes, I know who you are. He somehow Googled myself on my webpage. I don't know how he got there. But he said, you are not that Miroslav here on the contract. You are Manidhara Das. I know who you are. And my webpage, of course, then he knows everything. And the funny thing is, he's quite far out man. He said, you know what I like about you most? Just checking a little bit your webpage and this. I don't understand many of these things, but I know that you have something which is so high and so over our head. So actually from your point of view, we must really look like idiots to you. But you never let us know that. I mean, the way you'll tolerate us is incredible. And I mean, I have incidents. This is the boss of the company. It's a worldwide office, it's a worldwide renting company. So this is the Prague branch, and then the other guys who are working there, not many, this is quite a small club of people. They are always checking, what is this? Why is he treating him like that? Sometimes things get really crazy, but I know the place already, So he goes, quiet everybody. And he points to me and he said, he will say something wise. Listen to him. I go, whoa, now I have to say something wise, suddenly, 10 o'clock I have to say something wise. So I go, yeah, it's all temporary. So we have to tolerate, it will go away. And he goes, I told you, he always speaks only wise things. This is funny working place. Sometimes he calls me, he wants me to use me as a driver. I come there, but there's no car to drive. And I realize he pays me per hour and calls me just to talk to me. It's almost like that he knows devotees. They bring prasadam from a restaurant there to him. And they tell me, hey, this is he's half a bhakta, he's moving in the direction. If you stay close to him, he will start to chant. He asked me all these things. This is a middle-aged, full-blast working man. It's a heavy company, it's a heavy pressure on him. And he goes, sometimes I will ask you the ultimate question. One day. I'm not ready for that. Why am I doing all these stupid things? Can you imagine the man, calm man, he will ask you like that. We have a funny relationship here. It's like, I purposefully keep myself in this field sometimes. It's not because they are extending to me such a respect, these people. And the job is, sometimes I drive 20 cars a day. It's just bang, 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 from one car to the other, shifting cars here and there, and blah, 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 blah. They always give me the biggest ones, because they have a young guys helping there too, part-time drivers. And they never give the latest Mercedes to some young guy, because he will go crazy on this, And he will always make a detour. It's just driving from one point to the other, so he will always come late. Because he picked up his girlfriend on a road and they had a little drive, It can happen. I never do this. I drive the latest Mercedes and all this Ford limousines and all that stuff. There's no car on the market I didn't drive, actually. But I do it. I'm just mentioning it. This is a lecture, okay? I'm not going to be here to autobiographic, but I'm mentioning it. We should be realistic. We should stay. Prabhupada stayed in that pharmacy, He was a pharmacy man. Married pharmacy man. And another feature of Prabhupada was he had a thorough understanding of the intricacies and the problems which later on his disciples suffered from. Because he lived there. Can you imagine how expert Prabhupada was dealing with children? I could tell you stories on this. The Grihasthas were shocked. He's a sannyasi, but how does he know? Come on, he had a family. And the little Saraswati, had a darshan with Malati and her husband and Sumasundara. And the little Saraswati was sitting on mother's lap. And she found a little bit boring here, Prabhupada was sitting behind his desk and they had talk. So she was bangling around until actually she fell out of the mother's lap and hit the marble floor with her head. Not much. But children use this just to destroy the meeting. So she took a big breath and she was like, she couldn't do it. Before she screamed, she looked at Prabhupada and he had his big eyebrows, So he raised his eyebrows and looked at Saraswati intensely. And he said, you hit with your head my floor. You broke my floor. And Saraswati was shocked. She looked at the floor. Where is it broke? And completely forgot to cry. He just knocked her out, This is expert. And Shama Sundara was sitting there going, wow, wouldn't cross my mind to pacify Saraswati like that. Prabhupada and then she was just still studying the floor. And Prabhupada kept on talking, Just expert. You broke, with your head my floor. It was crazy. But for Saraswati, it was like pop, completely. She forgot to cry. Prabhupada was so amazing in all regards. Please, let's study the life of Srila Prabhupada, learn from him, and survive in this way. It's just one lifetime. Come on. There's a whole life. You know, I just turned 70. For me, joining when I was 18 is just like yesterday. It went like a flash. Woof. Just one lifetime. You know how many lifetimes we spent around, hanging around and doing all kinds of things? This is just... And this body, yeah. Krishna will show me how to get out of it. It becomes simply unlivable. It's possible. I'm grateful I can do things and I can live in a way I do, but it will be coming, sooner or later. So what? It's one lifetime. But at least I had a great life, I tell you. I don't regret 1 second of it.
Thank you for expanding our knowledge in Krishna consciousness and sharing my experience of yours. I think it makes it easier to understand. I wanted to ask you, how is the relationship of Krishna consciousness with biological needs as eating or pleasuring the body, how that manifests in the philosophy of Krishna? And
Can somebody repeat it?
is there such a difference between how Krishna consciousness treats food, how we relate with food,
Relate to
and
what?
how we relate with physical pleasures?
Pleasure.
Yeah.
How we relate to pleasure.
How Krishna relates with pleasure, with physical pleasure, and how she relates with, is there a...
Krishna is giving a very clear guideline. He said, we will face both, pleasure and pain. Okay? Automatically. This is already assigned to us at the point of birth, actually. There's a quote out pleasure, quote out pain. And Krishna says, don't bother. Let it come. Yeah, I know what you're asking. Devotees sometimes are afraid to have a pleasure. They go, no, this is too nice. This is not nice. Pain is simple, okay? It makes you humble and, Krishna, oh. But pleasure, how do you deal with that? So they want to, no pleasure, no. You know what Krishna is telling to Arjuna? Fight this battle, win the battle, and enjoy your kingdom. Stated there in Bhagavad Gita, enjoy your kingdom. When I read it, I was going, whoa. Krishna is telling Arjuna to enjoy. You know why? Because he was absolutely sure Krishna will not forget him. So all these pain, pleasure and all this, the only thing we do in Krishna, we see it in connection with Krishna. Never forget Krishna. Which is sometimes not so easy when it's pleasure coming. In pain it's more simple. But this is actually the secret. Yes, Krishna gave you pleasure, so enjoy it. But don't forget him. Thank you, Krishna. I am now really enjoying myself. But it will go away, don't worry. The misery will come again. Dualities, this is dualities. And Krishna says you tolerate the dualities. You tolerate pleasure and tolerate pain. Just let it go. And that's only possible when you are focusing on Him, which ultimately brings the real pleasure, the permanent pleasure. These things come and go. And Prabhupada did, obviously, enjoy too. It was obvious. He was really enjoying. He was enjoying eating. Yeah. And there were certain things he really enjoyed. But only with Krishna's permission. He didn't fight for it. Now I will enjoy it. As soon as this mentality comes, you are in trouble. Let it come and go. This is to be practiced. So I can now say many words, but you have to experience that and see, now I'm happy. Do I still remember Krishna? That's the only problem we have, forgetting Krishna. Otherwise, why not? You're not supposed to come to Krishna consciousness, suffer only. To be sure that we stay serious in Krishna consciousness. Well, the result of this I already described before, what it becomes, you know. You become an old frustrated man or old frustrated woman. That's not the result. Wrong way. Okay, I'm afraid I'm overdoing it. You see the temple president only walk out and...
I think it's okay.
Huh?
I think you can go on.
What?
If you like, you can go on. If you like, you can go on.
No. I'm supposed to leave tomorrow 5:30, you know. I have to also get ready a little bit. So, this is funny when I'm in Russia or something like this. They have no concept of time, these people. You go, you know, it's 11 o'clock at night, maybe the lecture should stop. It's in the middle of the week, and I can see that most of the devotees here are grihastas, they have to work, isn't it? It's not somebody working tomorrow morning here. And they go, oh, spasibo. You know? And then they don't sleep that night, and they go to work. It's Russia, you know? They are sleeping, I will do it tomorrow. When they like something, it's unstoppable. I gave a lecture in Moscow once, this a long time ago actually. Started 8 o'clock in the morning and ended up 8 o'clock at night. I'm not joking. I was sitting like this, I was going, oh sorry, now I have to go to the toilet, okay? And they were going, spasibo. I came back, the same people sitting there. I said, okay, it's not somebody hungry, and they were going, oh, prasad, and there was some plates flying around. But nobody moved. And there was another crew coming, the temple president, he came, oh, there was another 60 devotees coming. In Russia it's all, 160, 200, 1,000. And I told him, oh, this is very enthusiastic people, and where do they come from? He said, I don't know. I have no idea where these guys came from. Somewhere from Ural region, I heard. It was horrible, you know. And there again, spasibo. And it was going on from 8 to 8. I was like this on the verses. I was going, next question, please. You know, I could sleep there. They would still sit there. It's Russia. They are radical, these people. They are very radical. You cannot stop them. Nobody can stop Russia. Unstoppable. There's, I know from the early days of Russian Yatra, because my wife was the first one who smuggled books into Russia in Cold War. Very dangerous. So, so I was a little bit connected to that. And the way, immediately as this communism started to collapse, the devotees came out with such a force. There's a recording from a Mataji who just goes to the major in Moscow and goes, you know what? Communism is finished. You are finished. It's recorded on film, And the guy goes, well, in the name of the Communist Party. And she goes, it doesn't exist anymore. Didn't you got the point? Mataji, Very heavy, and just, fearless, absolutely fearless, these people. They are used to so much misery and oppression, and for them, austerity is like daily life. No problem. Unbelievable. When you see that power coming out, it's just, wow. Sometimes little brain is missing, yeah. Little brain is required, Prabhupada said, enthusiasm is good, but little brain is required. But it's a Russian story. I was glad to leave that country because it's so painful. To leave, this is like another planet. You go there and you disappear there. It's so huge. And everywhere, thousands of devotees, and they chant. They don't even know why they chant. There's all kinds of funny ideas flying around sometimes, but they don't mind to listen. They just. And I'm born in a Slavian country, so they feel a little bit the similarity, you know. I mean, I speak Czech and they speak Russian. I understand half of that, what they are talking, you know. Even the languages are quite related. So it helps sometimes. You know, they feel, you know, this is some other blood floating around here. They know that. But regarding identities, I don't care. I can be with the Germans, you know, and Ordnung muss sein. Ne? You know, it's always, it's the German saying, and I can be with the Czechs and make sick jokes. You know. I can be, now I'm being Croatia, that's also, you know. When the Croatian police opens my passport and they check and I have my first name, it's a Czech name, you know, Miroslav. But everybody in Croatia is Miroslav. They go, oh, Miroslav, ah! And they can talk immediately, you know. I can talk to anybody there. And actually when I'm around I will be now 1 month around, I start to understand that language. I always learn languages from hearing, you know, when you are in a country. I learned English from Prabhupada. I couldn't understand one damn word when I joined English. In a school, they didn't learn me anything. But I just listened non-stop to Prabhupada lectures. And even his old Victorian lectures. And all the preachers coming in, my GBC and everybody, by the way, Americans. So I just learned by listening, you know. Sometimes I write funny things in English, you know, because grammatics and all this, I never learned that thing. So, yeah, I just learned by listening. German is the same thing. By Germany I went to school, you know. And Czech, I left Czech long time ago, so I just, you know, for me, I was born with that thing. So that's okay. Swedish, I can think in Swedish, I can speak in Swedish, but it sounds horrible. Because I don't have any training, because everybody in Sweden speaks English. So this is a kind of languages, you know. This is another thing. I always tell this to the young devotees in this, learn languages. There was another job I had once upon a time as a devotee. I was a lecturer on a language school. No education, nothing. It was a private school. The lady, the owner of the school, she spoke half an hour with me in English to test me out. She said, you are immediately employed. And I said, employed what? I have no papers, nothing. I never did this before. He said, don't bother, we will arrange. So she was sending me people. I had an office, and she was sending me people for conversation hours. But it was in reality, was wives of a rich man who knew English or German. And they wanted to talk, to maintain the language. But of course, as a woman, to talk to who, you know, it's dangerous. You know, to go on the street and talk English to somebody. It's dangerous. So they did it officially. They paid really lots of money for that. And they came to me and then talked. About what? So I was soon tired of that prajalpa thing, you know. So I learned how to manipulate the conversation. In English or German. Reincarnation, vegetarianism, you know, things like that. And they didn't mind. At the end, I became known in the school as the man from India. I started to sell Bhagavad Gitas to them. And the director lady, she was completely okay. She said, they are happy. As long as they are happy and they come and pay, you can do whatever you want here. I told her, this is not about teaching languages. You know what kind of stories I have to hear there, what they are telling me, these women? She said, don't worry, I have men, they are worse. But it was just, again, part-time, a little job like this. But it was education. I learned how to twist the conversation around. Now I can talk to any garbage man on the street, and we will talk within 10 minutes about Bhagavad Gita, somewhat. He will not even know it. I will get him in that region. And I tell you, when you are old, it's better. People are more cool, they trust you more. So I can manipulate any conversation in the range of Bhagavad Gita. We can start to talk about forest, bees or something like this, about honey or whatever. And soon we are there in the range of Bhagavad Gita. It's fun to learn this actually, I tell you. They think they are just talking to me. They don't even know where we go with that conversation because I will bring them there. Because in Krishna consciousness is so wonderful. You can talk about, you can start anything. You know, we had in school programs in Sweden. This is a big preaching in Sweden you can do. If you register yourself, we are the Hare Krishna Center here, schools will call you. Hello, we are teaching Hinduism. Do you know something about that? Because they don't know anything. Can we come and visit? And either you go to them or they come to you. Whole school classes. It's a very pleasant program. It's a kind of information program, you know. So it's young people, so, you know, different age groups. I used to have 3 of these programs a day. You know. And they always expect this is the monks, they come, and the monks are preaching. And instead of that, I said, what do you want me to talk about? They were like confused, you know, because kids don't know how to think. Well, you know, I remember that one boy, he was really puffed up. He said, can you tell us something about Sixx Life? He thought, you know, monks, they don't know anything. After one lecture about Sixx Life, he was so exhausted, he said, okay, next question, please. Can talk about anything, I don't care. Just pick from a dictionary any word, I can start to give a lecture on that. It's funny, you know that? You realize how universal Krishna consciousness is. How wonderful you can apply it everywhere. I go to car mechanician, I can talk to him. While he's fixing my car, we end up ending something about Bhagavad Gita. He doesn't know it. Because if I would pull Bhagavad Gita, he goes, that is some Indian stuff, I don't know. But when I talk to him about futility of life, about the temporality of life, about all these things, he will agree, he will go with me. You know, stupidity, how Maya is programming people, it's actually all illusion. They will all agree with you. They will go along with it. Many people. We can preach from any point. We are going to live in this society one way or another. You cannot escape. Even you may try to hide here in Simhachalam, you will not be able to hide. If you don't go to them, they will come to you. They are around here. The Bayern people. They are here. So you have to learn how to deal with them. I can go to woodcutter in a forest and we can talk. And you learn always something from them, you know that? They have sometimes funny realizations, or you learn something practical. I can now build a house myself. I can build a wooden house, yeah. I never learned it anywhere. I've never studied anything like this. Out of necessity, I had to do that. But how did I do that? I learned it from these people. You come and talk and, oh yes, how do you do that? And then do it, you can immediately start to talk something. This place was built like this, by Kamis, who by the end of the construction of this temple were very Krishna conscious. When the temple opening came here, there was a tent out there. And all the workers who worked here brought their relatives. And this was the pride of that, we built it here. And I remember during the construction, they were so confused. They didn't know, what is this? Is this bathroom? Or what are we building here? They said, why do you have the water taps down there on the floor? That's for washing the feet. Or something like that, you know. Why is a pipe coming out of the wall here? You know, what is this? They had no idea. They just followed the instruction of the devotees. And then, along with that, they got all the preaching. There was a man standing here in this place. There was 3 Bavarian grandmothers when the first puja, when installation of Nishingadev was there. I was there on the door. And I look at the 3 grandmothers, you know, black lady, it's Catholic, you know, black dressed ladies, you know, with their obviously son or something, or yeah, I think it was the son. He was the building here, so he knew. So he said, no, that curtain will go open. Now you bow down. It's a church. You bow down. So when the curtain went open, these Bavarian ladies, they knee down and they were like, you know. It was so funny to watch this. There was a tent with these big Bavarian guys. They came with leather pants, you know. And they came there, and instead of music, there was a kirtan. They didn't mind. And instead of beer, you know, Bayerisch, there was big lassi, you know, served out. And instead of this, you know, this fried some meat, they had this shashlik, you know, this, yeah, this kind of shashlik, you know, thing, fried. It's, no, the vegetables being on the sink. But we are serving out sometimes. You dip it in, you know, and it's like pakora, more or less. And they had pakoras and samosas. They could relate to that. They like, God. They were eating that and they were explaining to the relative, this is samosa. I know. I just watched this. It was fun. You know, Bavarian people, Orthodox, really firm, you know, Catholics, and they don't care. They were happy. They had a job for 2 years. They were working here, you know. So they were happy they got job because it was very difficult to get jobs around that time here. So, yeah. So it's so nice to see Krishna consciousness in action. We didn't came here to hide. We came here to preach. When you make this to a guideline of your life, you will have a very happy life. And as soon as you try to cultivate your inner Krishna consciousness, my inner Krishna, you become a very miserable person. Okay, I have to stop. Yeah.
I have one question. Is it
Yeah.
allowed or not?
I don't care, but
My question is that is there a kind of
Huh?
wrong is there a kind of wrong preaching? Because I have a doubt that I don't know how to say it, feeling, and I feel like I have a kind of intuition that if we preach aggressively, let's say in the nearby towns, it can create a lot of havoc because people.
What do you mean by aggressively? I would call it rather insensitively.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that is the thing.
Prabhupada, you know what he said?
Is that true? Yes.
Prabhupada's comments is, this philosophy is very sharp. Be very careful how you use it. You can cut you and yourself. Therefore, not everybody should go out there and be a free preacher without understanding the responsibility he is carrying. There was a very nice in a Sankirtan meeting, they said, we are the ambassadors for Krishna consciousness. That's a responsibility. So there should be some monitoring and some preaching to those who go out and preach. So they don't do some damage by some insensitive, inappropriate, preaching. I could go now and give so many examples of that, but we have no time, but this is actually not very good. It can create damage, because people think, oh, this is all Hare Krishna, they're all the same. We are not all the same. Some are more expert, some are not, and some shouldn't actually go out and preach. They are not experienced enough for that. It's a big responsibility for preaching when you go out there. Prabhupada was very aware of the public, and he was aware how to dose Krishna consciousness. Some people came to challenge him. There is no God. Prabhupada smiled and he said, we are not talking about God here. Let's forget God. We are talking about simple logic. Are we this body or not? Is life coming from life or not? And And the man was like, hey, his agenda was finished. Prabhupada appealed to logic. It was finished. So he knew who he's talking to. If you don't have that kind of really, then it can be very damaging. So that's what temples are for, training preachers. We are not trained to stay here, really. We are training ourselves to go out. And those who are here, they are trained to represent. And never underestimate karmis. I grew up with the ideas, it's all stupid people. No. They are not all that stupid to understand how stupid we are. They watch us, don't worry, they know. They know when you are lusty, greedy or envious. Because that they are all the time, they are very expert on these things. So they know, you are also lusty, you are also greedy, you are also envious. They know that. The Prabhupada said, purity is the force. Purity of purpose. Absence of these things. The karmis will notice that. Not a big philosophy. They are not philosophers, really. You'll find very few, really, philosophical people. They're simple people, usually. It's all Shudras out there. But it's not bad, or something like this. It's just a question how you treat that Shudra. Yeah, this is something what you do. Don't threaten him. Try to accommodate him so he feels like, okay. And then from that platform you can introduce something. There's a tricks how to do that. You don't speak like you speak, some people say, or some people do, not about him. You avoid this confrontation thing. And you go, yeah, I know, there are many stupid people in this world. He doesn't even know you are talking about him. But it doesn't matter. It's a question of the issue, you introduce the issue. Things like that. One has to learn that. I had a wonderful example, like in front of Bhakti Bhushana Maharaj. I was preaching with him 2 years in Berlin. That was a beautiful seminar. Just watching what he's doing. He was so discreet with people, but so strict. He made 13 bhaktas in 1 year coming out of that crazy place. Because he was so pure. So this is like, there's a whole thing to it, yeah. So we should, in principle, understand it's a responsibility out there, how we deal with people, how we are behaving to each other. They see it. They see it. If devotees mistreat each other, karmis will notice and they go, what are you doing to each other? What kind of movement is this? They see how we cooperate. They see things, don't worry. They are watching. They know. And all this leads towards how we realize Krishna's presence. But that comes later. That you cannot tell them immediately. You show it by example. Most people are not ready to accept, it's Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They go, whoa. Especially in Shingadev, my God. They go, oh, this should be God. This corresponds to them, they connect it to some sinister sect, And Shingadev is a little bit, yeah, a little bit scary, eh? But when you know him, devotees are not afraid. They know. He's protecting us. So, but you see it with the arm comes, with the guest comes in the door and deity greeting is always far. Bam, bam, boom, bam, zoom. Can you imagine your first time stand here? Comes the smoke out, So you have to a little bit have a compassion upon them, a little bit like, go, no, it's okay, it's, To help people over that barrier of fear, this is actually important. That's what you do in Sankirtan all the time when you distribute books. Don't worry, this is okay, this is a nice book. You give them that feeling, this is good, try it out. Yeah? It's a struggle because people are fearful, and out of fear they become defensive. Anyway, it's a whole thing. So. But the devotees should understand we are living in this world with people, I don't know, age is helping. Please don't bloop. Stay in Krishna consciousness, grow old, you will see it gets only better. You know that? It gets only better, I can assure you that. Even I'm a simple guy, But I just distributed now in Marathon a few books. I realize I'm distributing in a completely different way. I go to people and go, hello, it's cold today, isn't it? No book. And people come to me and they tell me stories, that. Even in Switzerland, what a stiff, cold place that was. I was in Switzerland on the street, there was a boy walking on crutches. I told him, what happened? And he immediately told me, I broke my Achilles, the sink, and I said, tough. I recently cut up my leg with a chainsaw, but that's another thing, it's a detail. So I told him, I know that. I was also just jumping now for 1 month on one back. Not good, isn't it? And he was going, no, it's horrible, I want to move. This was a young guy, So I said, I think you cannot do much right now, isn't it? And then he said, no, I must only sit at home, I cannot do anything, damn it. And I said, but you can read books, isn't it? Yeah, I like to read lots of books, especially now, I cannot move. I said, I have some books for you. And we were right away there. He bought 2 books. We just talked about crutches and about cannot walk. I was going, I didn't distribute before like that. I went to an old lady, I was going, it's snowing, it's cold, it's messy weather. And she was going, I have rheumatism. And I said, yeah. Old age is not easy, I can feel it also. Rheumatism, yeah, it's good. But do you feel sometimes like you are not this body? And she said, that's a nice idea. And we were like, and I said, I have books here, they described how you are not this body. It's very nice, especially when the body is full of pain, isn't it? She said, yeah, that would be nice to have a book like this. And I said, well, just get one. There's another book going out, like this. I was in a Christmas market, there was 3 young people, 2 boys, 1 girl. And they were like missionary vegans, They were selling vegan goodies, homemade some kind of thing, Pure vegan, So I was going, oh, great. And I was going, my daughter is also vegan. It's true, So she's also vegan. Yeah, good. Protect cows, great. And they were like, yeah, And I said, I have a book here, which is clearly establishing that cows must be protected. It's from India, it's a very old book. And they were going, what book? And I pulled the Bhagavad Gita out and the boy says, oh, Bhagavad Gita, yeah, I know that book. I said, but you don't have it, isn't it? No, why don't you get one? And he was like, okay. And then the girls got together, they get one, we want to read it too. And they pushed him to buy the book. I didn't do anything. I was just standing there and the girls got on his case, get the book. So he bought a Bhagavad Gita. Things like that, I just walked around for 1.5 hours, I did like 20, 30 books. It's just like this, talking to people. And I never distributed before like that. In Germany it was like bang, 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 quick, the police is coming, bang, 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 bang. That was the mood. But this kind of Sankirtan, in Czech is much worse. In Czech, you cannot distribute book without talking to people. It's tedious, it's really, but the brahmacharis must hear on the street. They must have a talk. They go to some lady and they go, oh, you have a nice aura, you must take this book, you know. And the lady was, how do you know? I am so esoteric, you know. And they go, yeah, I can see that. But, by the time she buys the book, it's not about the aura really. They get to hear that the husband is too nasty and the dog ran away and, you know, and something like that. Chicks are like that. You must talk. And when they feel good, then they buy a book. Even more books. There's video recordings from Sankirtan Prabhu. This is the hero. Amazing Sankirtan devotee. And sometimes there's a little camera somewhere. He is stuck here. And you have a live broadcasting of his distribution. Incredible. He comes into places which are just so tamasic, you know. They were just here after the festival doing the other side of the border area. That's usually quite tamasic places in the mountains at the edge of Czech Republic, you know. And people are there. And because they don't get here so much, they are actually operating on the other side most of the time. So they used the opportunities. He wrote me just, he was going door to door. He said it was great. It's great. People like, oof, coming out, you know, mountain people, you know, oof. Oh, monks here, oh. Sometimes I saw recordings from other marathon. Incredible. He comes in a junkyard. I mean, there's just an egg stuck in a beam, you know, like, you know, and it's just junk lying around. Then he comes to the door, he rings the bell, and guy opens, he's half naked. Because in Czech, in the winter, when you can heat up the place to plus 35 degrees, then you are in luxury. They walk around in underwear, you know, shudras. The guy opens the door and goes, and he goes, oh, hello. Oh, you have some nice room here. Can I come in? You know, and then he goes like in, and then the wife comes back, this kind of bung, you know, 120 kilo wives, and then she comes down the stairs and she goes, and he goes, hey, some monk here, you know, with some book. And she said, well, you should read my books, you know, then you know something more. Like telling him he's stupid. So, you know, and he goes, yeah. And then he sells books for 1,000 Czech crowns, lots of money, you know. And then the guy pulls his bill out on him for one Bhagavad Gita. So, of course, he gives him like 4 books more. And the guy said, well, I don't know if I can read so much, but I like to read sometimes. In the winter, there's nothing going on here, you know. Things like that, you know, he's constantly in touch with these people. Sankirtan devotees have a training, they can go with anybody. And you enter the most bizarre locations and most bizarre places. And my God, I don't want to even tell you where I have distributed books. The problem that was not planned. I didn't plan for it. But the problem to distribute on nudistic beaches is that they have no money, you know, because they're naked. So you have to always check where's the dress, so they can pick up the money. But they do buy books. Please don't do that. Don't imitate this. We were just desperate, and there was no other place to go, and there was a nudistic beach, so we just passed by with the cars, and I had a fanatic devotee with me. Okay, he said, there's people there. And I told him, yeah, great, but they're all naked. And he said, no, it doesn't matter, let's go, conditioned soul, Jeev Jago. And he was like pushing. So I said, okay, I will stop for half an hour, but then we keep on driving. So he just swept the beach and we distributed like 50 books. Unbelievable. But we couldn't care less. Those were monkeys to me. You know, so you know, Sankirtan is like this, you get this protection. My God, I distribute to people in the most impossible situations. I don't want to go in detail now, but when I look back, it was really bizarre. You know, this is beautiful Sankirtan. You get such a training. You'll have the inside look on the Kami life. How much these people suffer. How worthless and useless their lives are. And what a big hopes they are. They have actually good ideas, but in the wrong place. Completely deceived by Maya. Good idea, the wrong place. I think we have to stop because otherwise I get some trouble here. I send some management and this, they are not used to this, and this is not a freelance place. So when I'm in domestic programs, if nobody goes to sleep and we sit there, I don't care. We go like this all night, I don't care. But not here. I mean, here's the, we are in a temple here under the law of Lord Nishingadev. So we have to regulate ourselves. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Спасибо большое. I could also hear it non-stop. Very interesting. It was very interesting. Thank you so much. I could hear you non-stop. You told a lot of important things. Thank you so much.
Krishna consciousness is important. Yeah.